Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney and today I'm going to be taking you through my favorite horror movies to watch over and over again. Every single movie on this list I have at least seen 10 times. I'm a huge horror movie buff. I love watching pretty much all of them. Horror is my comfort genre, and so it's pretty much always playing in the background. So today I thought we would do this makeup look and talk about my favorite horror movies. So if you're interested, chill out, grab a little drinky drink, and let's jump into it. These aren't gonna be in any order or anything. I just kind of wanted to chill with y'all. I needed to do my makeup anyways, so no big thing. I'm going to list all the products that I used today in the bottom bar and the little info bar so you guys can see it. It is a dreary, gloomy day. It's been raining all day, which is actually kind of perfect because this is the best kind of day to just snuggle up with some popcorn and just vibe out and watch these movies. Though I like watching scary movies, I would say like 80% of the time. I just grew up on them, watching them with my mom, so I love them. They have a lot of comfort for me. So I'm gonna tell you guys my favorite movies to watch over and over again. I definitely have like a genre that I would call like easy watching horror, and these all fall into that category. They'll be kind of scary, some jump scares, but for the most part, they're kind of quick, easy to watch, not too disturbing. These are great entry horror films, but interesting, and I like something with a good twist. So as I say all that, the first movie I'm about to talk about doesn't even have a twist. Really, there's nothing about that movie that's confusing. Okay, so the first movie that I love to watch again and again, it is called Hellfest. Hellfest, it's a slasher flick. It came out in 2018, and I remember it came out, I think, on like a prom night in my local area because I was at the theater and there was a bunch of kids being loud. It was a little earlier. I love going to movies alone. And then there was a kid sitting next to me who I distinctly remember reminded me of my younger brother, and he was there alone, and I was like, yes, we are here in solidarity. But Hellfest follows a group of college-age friends who get some VIP tickets to go to this like outdoor carnival, but it's totally horror themed, which sounds fun as hell. Actually, it sounds really fun and terrifying. But while they're there, there's a masked killer on the loose. The problem is everybody is masked and a killer. It's a horror show. A lot of what they see is fake. And so they go through a lot of the movie, especially the main kind of character, not really knowing if she's really being tracked by someone or if it's all just part of Hellfest, the carnival experience. Now, I love the idea of the horror games and the different levels and areas of this. I would love to go to a carnival like this, but the other part of this is really cool is games and areas you see are spooky in their own right, so it's like you get to kind of experience those, and I really like that. And Candyman is in it. I swear, that man has made a full career off of being scary as hell, and good for him because he does it very well. He scares the crap out of me, that's for sure. So yes, Hellfest, amazing. I love it. And I can watch it again and again. It's just one of those like very easy movies for me to take part in. Sorry, I can't talk and do liner. Okay, I'm gonna work on this skin and then we'll come back to this eyeliner because I'm feeling really big wings today. The next movie is really a series that I love watching over and over again. This is probably, out of all of these, this is probably the movies that I've seen the most, and that is Final Destination. So I believe Final Destination has 5 installments, and obviously the first one is iconic. The second one has its moments, but those have to actually be my least favorites. Obviously, as Final Destination got more popular and more people became interested in it, the death scenes in this movie are just, they're insane. Some of them I have still not seen to this day. So when I decide it's time for a Final Destination marathon, I usually like to watch the third one, which is the one about the roller coaster, because I mean, who cannot relate to being scared as hell on a roller coaster? I think that's everyone's worst fear. Also, I like the final one, which is where they're on the bridge and the bridge collapses. I think that those movies do a really good job job of playing in on people's fears. So in the third one, some of the kills that they had were a man's head gets, what's his name? I think it's just Frankie G. He's a really creepy character, so you don't feel bad that this happens to him, but he's stuck in a drive-through line and an engine of a truck goes straight and goes into his head. Ooh, that one's really gross. There's also the iconic tanning scene where these girls get stuck in a tanning booth and they malfunction and they basically like bake to death in tanning booths. That's horrible. There's a scene with a nail gun. That's horrible. And the one scene that I've never seen from the third one is there's a jock. There's always one of these in Final Destination, the guy who's like, I determine my own fate. There's always one of them. They have it every single time, and that's the person you got to watch out for. But in this one, it's a jock. He's on a football scholarship. He's working out, and then something happens with the weights. I feel like they slam on his head, and I just can't watch it because it, like, stuff like that makes my molars hurt. I don't know how to describe it, but it freaks me out. But I love watching the movie. And then the final, spoiler alert, is actually a prequel to Final Destination. And there are so many hints the entire time you're watching the movie, but I seriously did not catch pretty much any of the hints. That movie is really great because it has a lot of cool death scenes. There is an acupuncture scene that's pretty brutal. There's a laser eye surgery scene that's pretty awful. I mean, yeah, that one can definitely mess you up. Ooh, there's one where the girl is doing gymnastics. That one's pretty bad. That one's very anxiety driven because the whole time you think one thing is gonna cause her accident and it doesn't, but they keep you on edge the entire time. There's one in between there. I think it's like called Final Destination or The Final Destination. I don't think it's called Final Destination 4 or anything. And that one's okay. I'll watch that one a fair amount as well. It's about the NASCAR track, but I'd say 3 and 5 are probably my favorite ones to watch over and over again. This next one is called Wish Upon. The main actress is Joey something or other, which I really like that name for a girl. I think Joy is it's just a cute name. Basically, it follows her and her dad, who is Ryan Phillippe. How do you say his name? Phillippe? I don't know how you say his name, but he was a heartthrob from my youth, so I think he was in Cruel Intentions. But anyways, basically the main character, her mom, died a long time ago. She committed suicide, and so it's been her and her dad who likes to pick up junk. I think that's how he makes a living. I think he resells stuff that people throw away, which there's nothing wrong with that. But she's super embarrassed about it because, you know, high school people are awful. And so it follows her as she gets a gift from her dad, and it's this little box that makes your wishes come true. But of course, ain't nothing that easy, all right? It makes your wishes come true, but for a price. So every time you get something, it takes something from you. And what it takes is the life of someone that you love or care about. And I do believe there's a limit to the amount of wishes you get. I think you get more than 3, maybe like 5 or 9. But, you know, every time this girl makes a wish, you get to see some brutal scene where someone dies and you're like, ooh. The most iconic scene, I have to say, is when this lady's hair gets stuck in the garbage disposal. Oh my God. It's horrible. It's horrible. But let me tell you, as someone who has a garbage disposal, the motors in those things are not that strong. I mean, I know they have to do it for the movies, and you should still be very careful around garbage disposals, but that kind of power, I'm not in the right tax bracket, but my garbage disposal ain't doing any of that. But it's very scary. So you kind of get to see her go through this. I love watching it. It's a fun movie. It's got some very common elements, and I like how there's different segments of this one storyline. Like every time she makes a wish, you kind of get to see how that plays out with a different person, and I love that stuff. Okay, so another movie duo that I have to talk about is Urban Legends and Urban Legends Final Cut. Now, Urban Legends is absolutely iconic. It came out in 1998. In my time, there was nothing, absolutely nothing like it. Rebecca Gayheart, she killed that shit. If you're very young, you may not know, but she used to be something called the Noxzema Girl. Google her. Anyways, it was a great movie, and it took you through all of these like urban legends legends because people were getting murdered by different urban legends. Can you see how I like different individual storylines in movies? I love that stuff. In this version of urban legends, you'll have pretty common storylines like a hook in the roof of the car, or why you should never pull over if someone's honking at you and flashing their lights on a highway, a man hiding out in the back seat of your car. You actually don't see anything, but it's implied. Anyway, so a lot of these urban legends, people are getting killed. It's very wild and very interesting. And there's a good little twist at the end that I didn't see coming, but I love watching that one over and over again. Now, I do have to say, not quite as iconic or iconic at all is the second version of Urban Legends. It's called Urban Legends Final Cut. And I don't know when Scream came out in relation to this, but the second movie is about college kids making a movie about urban legends. So it's like, is that like a fourth wall thing or a third wall thing? It's meta kind of. So they're making a movie about what the movie's about. Anyways, so it kind of takes you through some other, pretty common urban legends like waking up and someone stole your liver. I'm trying to think of what other ones were in that one. That one's a little bit harder for me to remember, but I will watch those back to back pretty commonly. And I think they both just provide some really interesting storylines. I can remember the killer in the second one, and I do think that they try to, keep like some Scream elements in there and keep you on your toes, keep you guessing. But I do believe that that was the final Urban Legends movie that I saw. Wait, that's not true. Urban Legends has a third movie called Urban Legends Bloody Mary. Yes, I've seen it. I would not put it on this list as ones that I'd watch again and again, but I will probably watch it again. The next movie, my God, my brother was in here. He'd absolutely lose it because during quarantine this past year, I probably watched this movie 20 times. I played it constantly. I don't know why, but I couldn't get enough of it, and that is Halloween Resurrection. So if you're a Halloween fan, you might remember in the early 2000s, they got a little wonky with the storyline. That storyline has been changed so much over the years. Is Michael Jamie Lee Curtis's brother? He's not, but he is, but she was his babysitter. It doesn't matter. And even within the two movies that I like to watch, their relationship changes, but I don't really care about all that, like consistency. I really like Halloween Resurrection. It stars Tyra Banks. It also has Busta Rhymes in it. There's a group of college kids and they auditioned and secured spots on a show that's basically like ghost hunters. And they've been told that they get to go into and spend the night in is it Voorhees? I think it's Voorhees, right? Anyways, they get to go into Michael's childhood home and do some snaking around. They're gonna sneak around and look in there. Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes are like basically the producers of the show. And there's a lot of stuff in there that's just not real. They set up a lot of pranks and stuff to keep it interesting. And you basically follow a main character who has a bad feeling about all this, and she goes in anyways. You guessed it, Michael ends up showing up and going to his childhood home, because I do think this actually took place in his childhood home as they were implying, but it's just like they set up like a crib with chains on it. They had like this little basement situation set up to make you think that, his parents raised him as a monster and that's why he is all messed up. So anyways, you basically just get to follow these kids through this house of horrors, and then Michael comes in and you kind of watch them try and survive. The other really cool thing about this, it's like from the literal turn of the century. We're talking 2002, but chat rooms were a thing. And so this whole experience is live streamed, and the main character has a friend on the outside who is watching it. He's a high schooler who's helping her navigate and get past Michael Myers. It's Michael Myers. Who's Michael Voorhees? It's Jason Voorhees. Wow. Okay, we're back on track. Anyways, so you get to kind of watch their relationship. I don't know. I just think Busta Rhymes is so funny in this movie. It is very cheesy, but it's so good, and the jump scares and everything. It's just the perfect kind of movie for me to watch on a rainy day. But I seriously think if I put it on the living room TV anymore, my brother will kill me, because I watched it back to back. I remember one day, I think I watched it 3 times. I just had it playing in the background, and that maybe is actually too much. Okay guys, so we've got the face done. I think I need a minute to really fix this eyebrow. So So give me a second and then I'll continue on. Okay, this was really fun, you guys. Last time I took a glitter liner and outlined the bottom of my eyebrows, and you really couldn't see it, but it was just like a fun little touch. So I'm gonna do that again. Okay, we've got brows. We'll do eyeliner. I'm gonna talk while I do my eyeliner, so just don't come for me if it looks terrible. The next movie is actually another Halloween movie, and it's Halloween H2O. It's the 20-year anniversary. That's why it's called Halloween H2O. And I just love it. I love the name. Halloween H2O actually came out in 1998, and Halloween Resurrection came out 4 years later in 2002. Halloween H2O is my second favorite Halloween movie. It has LL Cool J. It's got Josh Hartnett at literally the prime of his career. It was so good. And in this series, Jamie Lee Curtis she's like the headmaster at a school, and everyone is supposed to go on this little woodland vacation type thing, as private school people, I guess, do. And her son, despite her son asks to go, she says no because she knows that Michael is gonna come after her like he always does. And then I think she caves and says yes, but then he doesn't go anyway because his girlfriend's broke and she can't go. So they all hang out there, and what do you know? Who shows up? Michael. He shows up because he literally always shows up. And so basically it's them trying to avoid Michael before he, murks their ass. I mean, that's what it is. It's exciting, it's fun, and LL Cool J is just a treat in that movie. I think he's so funny. I have so much fun watching that movie just because it's kind of like Busta Rhymes in the other one. They just add a lot of like levity to the film, and it makes it like fun and scary, like exhilarating but not too heavy. And that's the kind of horror that I like. Next is Get Out. I mean, this, I would say people would more traditionally rank Get Out as better than all these other movies I've listed. And I'm not gonna disagree. Get Out is probably one of the better movies on this list, but I like the kind of horror that I like. So I'm okay to have a variety of these kinds of films, but Get Out is a movie that came out in 2017. It's phenomenal. I probably don't have to say too much about it, but to keep with the theme of the movie, it is about a guy in an interracial relationship with a woman who takes him for a weekend to visit his white family. While he is there, all of the black people that he meets are off. They ain't right, something's up, and you find out that these white people are buying black bodies. The movie is just filled with all these like not secret, I guess, what would you call that? They're like little Easter eggs throughout the film that you can watch that movie, I feel like 15 times and still get something new from it. My favorite part, once again, is the comedic relief. And in this movie, I'd say you actually get it from a lot of different angles, but mainly it's from the main character's best friend who works for the TSA. He's phenomenal. Just so many good scenes with him. I'm not gonna say he carried the movie because everyone did a great job, but damn, he did something. He really did. Should I put on lashes? I don't know. I kind of feel like I should, but I don't think I'm going to. Let's just do some mascara. Days like this, I miss my lash extensions. Okay, so the next movie is Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare came out in 2018. Now, don't get it confused with Truth or Dare on Netflix, which is another good movie, and it's pretty much a very similar concept, but they're different films. This Truth or Dare is the Blumhouse one, and it follows, I don't know, a group of college-age friends who go on a trip. I think they go to Mexico for spring break, and while they're there, they hang out with this dude who takes them to this abandoned, dilapidated church area and starts playing the game of Truth or Dare with them. Now, it turns out when they get back, they are still confronted with the game of Truth or Dare. They are either like when they're walking around, people's faces change, they have these really creepy smiles, and they will ask them truth or dare, and if you don't do the dare, then you die. So it's a pretty simple concept. If you don't do the dare, you die. And it is them basically trying to outsmart this game. It has Lucy Hale in it, and I think she does a really good job, and I really actually like her in some scarier flicks. She's also in Fantasy Island. So honestly, if I were you guys, I'd check it out. I think it's a lot of fun. I like that each dare is so unique and different, and trying to see if these college kids can can outsmart this straight up demon, because I think that's who's running the game, is a demon. It's always a demon. You're kind of like kept on your toes to see what happens next. Okay, the next movie I watch all the time. I literally paid for it ahead of time so that when it came out to Google Play, that's where I download most of my movies, I was notified and it was in my inbox. It was the first movie I watched in 2019 and that was called Escape Room. It's such a fun concept for a movie. Basically follows these, I don't know if it's 5 or 6 people. Anyways, they get invited to an escape room and, you know, it turns out that if you don't escape the room, you will die. It's just a really cool concept. Every room is very unique and very different, and all the characters are very unique and very different. And so a lot of the time you wonder kind of who's gonna make it through each level. I don't know, once again, I think I like watching that movie just because there are so many different kind of subplots in the movie because each room has such a different vibe, and I really, really like that. Okay, so my second to final horror film to watch on a gloomy day is a movie called Countdown. So this movie actually came out in 2019 and it stars the girl who played Beck in You. If you haven't seen the series You really are missing out. You could just stop this and go watch that. The show You is very wild. But anyways, it stars Beck. She's a nurse or a nursing student who downloads an app called Countdown, and it is supposed to tell you the exact time you have left on this earth. So once you download the app, it'll say you have 30 years, 50 years. Unfortunately for her, she gets like 2 days or something crazy. And so it's her trying to navigate what actually is this app. And it turns out, spoiler alert, it's in the user agreement that, you know, if you click agree, you're basically trading your time on Earth with a demon who's gonna come and kill you. You gotta read those user agreements, guys. No, I never really read user agreements because they're like way too long. I think that's the point, is like they know we're not gonna read them, and by they I mean like companies. But the movie was a really cool twist on that. It's a pretty simple plot line, but very unique. I'd never seen like an app-based kind of scary movie in using this particular concept. So I liked it. I bought it on Google Play and I will watch it on occasion. It's like a little bit more sparse that I watched this one, but it's still really good. Ooh, oh my gosh, I feel like we're almost done. So, wow, that was not nice clean sprays. That's okay, we've got our fan. Okay, so my final movie that I like to watch when it's gloomy, my favorite horror movie to just watch again and again, is the Purge series. So the Purge, I think, now has 4 movies potentially and a TV series that I have seen that I really like. And I'll have to say the first Purge is my least favorite. I feel like after the first Purge, things get a lot more interesting. Purge Anarchy, that's probably my first favorite Purge movie to watch, and this follows a man who is traveling to kill the drunk driver who murdered his son, and on his way to go do that on Purge night, he finds 4 people who have been stranded out on Purge night for various reasons, and so he ends up kind of protecting them throughout that process. They end up spending the whole night out on Purge night. Some people make it, some people don't, but it's really exciting, and you see a lot of unique kills in the Purge, which is really fun. And I'd have to say that is my one criticism with the first Purge. It just was lack of, I guess, creativity. Like, yes, there were people coming to kill like this one random black guy. They just really wanted to kill him. I mean, so it was really more just like a killer flick. I mean, all crime is legal, and that's all we doing. I don't know. That's really my only criticism. But okay, my second favorite is just then the next movie in the series, which is The Purge Election Year. It follows Leo, I think, is the main guy. He is again in the second movie, and now he has become security for a senator who is running for president of the United States, and she is fully anti-Purge as her family was murdered on Purge night. And then on the other side, you have a man from the new founding NFFA, the new founding fathers, and he really loves Purge night. Anyways, there's a conspiracy to murder her, and this senator and Leo spend the entire night once again out in the open trying to survive the Purge. Along with that, if you've ever seen the candy scene where the girl is like really upset about her candy bar, she comes back to like mess with this guy. It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess, but that's also part of this Purge series. And I thought like the visuals, the creativity in the kills and the kind of ideas they had around that was really interesting. And then the last one that I watched a lot is the first Purge. So that takes you all the way to the very beginning when they are deciding if the Purge is a good idea. It kind of shows you how it came into fruition and what it was like when it first started and what people were actually doing. And I thought that was really cool because I do feel like one of the criticisms of the Purge is that everyone would just automatically start killing each other, and it really shows a more, in the very beginning, light-hearted version of what you think. A man robbing an ATM, people having parties, things like that. But obviously stuff goes south because it is a horror movie. All right guys, that is it for me. Thank you for joining me today. If you guys have a movie that you really like watching over and over, it doesn't have to be horror, go ahead and comment it below. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.